Hey there, Tiffany Thomas with thewealthytiffany.com, and in today's video I'm going to talk to you about why I don't use debit cards and what I use instead. And before we dive in, if you are ready for financial freedom right now, comment freedom below in the comments, and if you are serious about fast-tracking your financial freedom, click the link below this video in the description and I can help you do that. Alright, let's talk about the 4 reasons that I don't use debit cards. And I wanted to just talk about this because I know there's a lot of people that still use debit cards, and it does work for some people. But for my situation, I feel very comfortable in not using a debit card, and what I actually use instead is a credit card. And I do not max out my credit cards, and I'm not tempted to leave a balance on there and pay interest on my credit card. So I just wanted to throw that disclaimer out there that this process may not work for everyone. If you're not comfortable using a credit card and being able to pay that off in full every month and not pay any interest on your credit card. But if you are comfortable using a credit card and you don't feel like things will get out of control, then I want you to seriously consider switching over from using your debit card to a credit card for these 4 different reasons. And the first reason is because on a credit card you can earn cash back rewards. And some credit cards have points that you can earn and you can get cash back. You can have just a credit on your account, or you can get certain gift cards to stores that you would shop at anyway, and you can get a discount on those gift cards. Or there's even travel rewards on some of the credit cards. So if you travel a lot, you can get a lot of travel points and use that toward your next trip. So that's the first reason I don't use a debit card, is because a credit card has more of an advantage because of the rewards you can get with your credit card. So honestly, and I remember the first time that this kind of hit me, I went into a restaurant with a group of friends and we all paid separately, and my friend had paid with his credit card, and I can't remember if I asked him or if he just kind of brought it up, but he said, yeah, I haven't paid for anything with a debit card for a really long time because I want to get my cash back. And that's just free money essentially. And remember, this is if you can handle using a credit card without becoming out of control. So he just kind of, shined the light for me, if you will. And I was like, oh my gosh, you're right. Why am I using my debit card when I can use my credit card and earn these reward points? And they do add up over time. I'm not a huge spender, so I've gotten a few $100s back every year on my credit cards that I have. So, I mean, that's money that I wouldn't have had if I didn't use my credit card. So that's the first reason that I don't use a debit card and I use a credit card instead. And then the second reason is because if you get fraudulent charges on your debit card, it's a lot harder to take care of that. And let me explain what I mean. So I had a friend who was telling me that she had fraudulent charges on her debit card and they immediately froze her checking account. So she didn't have access to any of her money in her checking account. And they had to figure out, she essentially had to do some work and prove that it wasn't her committing or putting this charge on her debit card. And, they had to freeze that amount, the charge that was on the debit card. So she had to make sure that she had enough money to cover that in her checking account, even though it wasn't a charge that she had made. So in dealing with that, it sounds terrible. And then in comparison, I had, and that was, I think, at least a week, if not 2 weeks, that they froze her account. So she didn't have access to her money, which is a little bit scary. And in contrast, I had a fraudulent charge on one of my credit cards. And the nice thing is it was actually my Discover card, and Discover called me on the phone, and it was an automated telephone call, and they just said, we've noticed a transaction on your credit card. Was this you or was it not you? And it said, I think press 1 if yes, it's you, press 2 if it's not you. And I meant to press 2, but I accidentally hit 1. And I was like, oh dear. So I had to call them and I said, I accidentally hit the wrong number. And they said, oh, okay, no problem. Let us take care of it. Don't worry about anything. And we'll send you a new card just, in a few days. And that was that. Like, they took care of the charge. Nothing was frozen. I could still use my account in a couple of days. So things were just taken care of, and it was just a very simple process compared to what happened to one of my friends where she didn't have access to that money at all. So that's another reason that I don't use a debit card in case of fraudulent charges, because they do happen, even though I feel like I'm pretty careful with my cards, but it still happened to me. So it can happen to anybody, honestly. And the third reason that I don't use a debit card and use a credit card instead is because with a credit card, I have about 30 days to pay that credit card off. So the money isn't coming directly out of my account immediately. And I like that because I can earn a little more interest. If I do have money in my savings account, I can earn a little more interest on that expense because that money isn't coming directly out of my checking account as soon as I make that transaction. So if I go to the grocery store and swipe my debit card, that money immediately comes out of my checking account. But if I swipe my credit card, I have at least about 30 days to pay that off. So I can have access to essentially more money, if you will, for that 30-day period. And that may not seem like a lot, but if you're making a really large transaction, for example, I finished my basement, which was, a huge amount of money, and I happened to have 0% interest on my credit card. And so I used my credit card for part of that. And so I had access to that money for a while, so I could invest it or do other things with it. And it was just nice to have that little buffer. So that's the third reason. And then the fourth reason, and this doesn't have anything to do with using a credit card, but you're probably wondering, well, how do you get access to cash if you don't have your debit card? Are you going to use your credit card and use that at an ATM and pay the fee to get cash back from a credit card instead of a debit card? Well, honestly, I can't remember the last time I used an ATM. It's been so long because of other things that I can take advantage of, like, for example, a Venmo account or a Cash App, a Square Cash account, and I can transfer money to people and they can send me money through those apps. And I haven't had any problems with using those, and I actually use those for my renters that I have, the tenants that I have. They can pay me through that, so it's very convenient. And I actually don't have to go to an ATM to get cash. So it's very convenient. There's other ways that you can kind of work around, so you don't actually have to carry cash with you because of these apps that you can use, which are free to use. And I'll actually post a link below for the Cash App. If you guys are interested in signing up, they have a deal where you can get $5 if you send $5 to someone else. They'll give you a free $5. So there's that, just FYI if you are interested in that. But those are 4 reasons that I don't use debit cards. And I would love to know if you guys are still using your debit card, or if you do use credit cards, please post that in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, please like it and share it with someone else who needs to hear this information. And if you guys are serious about fast-tracking your financial freedom, make sure and click that link below this video and I can help you do that. And make sure and hit the subscribe button to subscribe to my YouTube channel. That will really help me out. And if you guys have other ideas about content you would like me to create for you, please put that in the comments below. I would love to do that. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks.